What's up, YouTube people? Coming back at you again with another apple video. Now this one is going to be part 2 of what I do with a big box of apples. The first thing we made with the big box of apples was applesauce. But in this video we're going to dehydrate some apples and make apple chips. Now we're going to make regular apple chips, and then I'm going to try and make some cinnamon sugar type apple chips. Now, you don't need much for this one. All you need is a dehydrator. That dehydrator I got for Christmas from my aunt. Some apples, some cinnamon sugar, and that's about it. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, you can do this in the oven. It takes pretty much the same amount of time. You just have to put the oven on the lowest setting possible. And then put your apples on a cookie sheet. And probably be about 18 hours. That's how long it takes in my dehydrator here. Might be a little more in the oven. I've never done it in the oven before. But you can do this in the oven if you don't have a dehydrator. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to peel these apples. Now, it takes more than you think to fill up this dehydrator. I'm going to quickly peel about, 6 apples real quick, and then I'll get back to you and show you the next step. Okay, I've got all of the apples that were in the bowl peeled. Now, yes, I do have 2 different kinds of apples in here. I've got some green Granny Smiths, and then I've got some Fuji apples that were in that big box. I got these at King Soopers. They were a really good price, so I thought I'd throw them in this video. Make 2 different kinds of apple chips, or at least 2 different kinds of apples for the apple chips. But doesn't matter which kind of apple you use, any apple will work. And you don't have to take the peel completely off. I like to leave just a little bit on so you kind of know which type of apple you're getting. But if you don't like the peel on, then you just take it off the rest of the way. It's no big deal. It's just what I like to do. Now, the next step is to slice these apples. Now, you do have to slice these apples rather on the thin side. You just want to core the apple first. And then just slice it, not like super thin, but about that thin, because the thicker you slice them, the longer it will take to dehydrate them. So you want to try your darndest to keep it a somewhat uniform size. Either all pretty much a uniform size, as close as possible anyways. If they are a little thicker, it's no big deal. Those ones will just be a little chewier, but just, try your darndest to keep them as close to the same thickness as possible. So I am going to slice the rest of these apples, and I'll show you the next step. leave plain. I'm going to leave 5 apples to show you making them cinnamon sugar type apple chip. Now you can color protect these. Now what do I mean by color protecting? That means make it to where they don't change colors on you and they keep kind of a pretty apple color, white color. Can't quite tell. I don't have the greatest of lighting. But the way you would color protect is take a bowl of water, add just regular tap water, regular cold water is fine, and add some lemon juice to it. Enough to where the water tastes a little bit lemony, but not enough to make you pucker. And just dip the apples in it for a couple minutes, drain it off, and that should color protect them. I don't worry about that. That doesn't bother me that they change colors. I know what they are. My family knows what they are. They don't really care if it changes color. So I just leave it. So let me show you the next step in the process of dehydrating these apples. Now, this is a Hamilton Beach dehydrator. I've done a bunch of stuff in this before. Now, you just got to get to the bottom tray. Like so. Let me bring you a little closer. Now, the only thing to do now is to line the tray with all your apples. Now again, if you are doing this in the oven, you would just line your baking sheet with all your apples. You know, just enough to leave. Try to leave just a little gap between each one so that way it's got air circulation in the dehydrator. Same thing if you're doing it in the oven, just leave a little gap and just fill your tray up as much as possible. Now yes, some are thicker than others. That's okay. Just means those ones are probably going to be a little chewier. And the thinner ones will get done quicker than the other ones. But we'll come back through later on in a couple hours and we'll check on them to see how they're doing. And if they look like they're done quicker than some of the others, then we'll just pull them out. No big deal. And let the others keep going. So I'm going to finish filling up as many trays as this takes. And I'll show you making some cinnamon sugar ones. trays filled up of apples now. So now I am going to slice the other apples, and I will show you making the cinnamon sugar type apples. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the rest of those sliced. Now in this bag, I just mixed up some cinnamon and sugar. Now you just pour some cinnamon in and throw some regular sugar in with it too. Give it a good shake. Taste it. If it tastes good to you, not overly cinnamony, not overly sugary, then you made it right. Now I'm just going to dump some in here with the apples, give it a stir, and we'll put those in the dehydrator too. Now you don't want to add too much, just enough to lightly coat them. Just a little bit, not coat the whole thing, just a little bit so you have the hint of cinnamon when you go to eat your apple chip. All that a nice toss until it's coated to the amount that you want. Now if you want it to be a lot more cinnamony, then add more of the mixture. If you want less cinnamony, then add less of your cinnamon mixture. Now you don't have to add this at all. I just thought it might be a different tasty treat instead of just plain apples. Okay, we got that all in there, all mixed up. Now the only thing left to do is to add these to the dehydrator, just like we did the first ones. Get this set back up again. Now we are on our fourth rack. This comes with 5. Hopefully I'll have enough space for them all. So you just line these up in there, just like I showed you the first time. Now again, if you're doing this in the oven, same thing applies. Just line them up just like you did the first ones. And then I'll show you the next step. Okay, I've got that as filled as possible. Crammed as many in as I possibly could so I didn't have many left over. Do have a few left over, but that's okay, I'll just eat those later. It's too early to eat those now. This is a long process. But let me wash my hands real quick and we'll talk about the next step. Okay, now the only thing left to do is to put the lid on. Okay, we got the lid on, and the only thing left, the last step is to set the timer and the temperature. Now, this will take 8 to 12 hours, all depending on how thick or thin you cut your apples. It is a long process, but it's okay. Same thing if you're doing it in the oven. You put the oven at the lowest setting possible. Put all your apples on your cookie sheet, or however many cookie sheets, and put it in there for 8 to 12 hours. Again, all depending on how thick or thin you sliced your apples. You slice them thinner, it won't take so long. Thicker, takes a little longer. But after 8 hours, we'll come back and check. But for now, let's set the timer, if I can remember how. See, my machine calls for it to be at 135 Fahrenheit. And then we'll just set it for, I'll set it for 12 hours. But I'll come back and I'll check at 8 hours and show you how they're doing. For now, let's push start. As you can hear, it has kicked on. So, same thing with the oven. Set your timer for 12 hours or 8 hours. Come back and check. If they're not to your liking, then leave them in a little bit longer. Just remember to put them in the oven on the lowest setting possible. And then just let them go until they're done. Now, I will be back in 8 hours to show you how it's doing. And we'll give them a check. See how many are done. See what needs to go a little longer. So I'll see you in 8 hours. Now, I don't know if you heard it in the background. There was a loud screaming noise of the video. That was the quail giving off a warning call. Now, I'm not quite sure why they were out here giving off a warning call while I was in the middle of making the video. Something must have been around that they didn't like a squirrel or hawk maybe, or even the crow. If you heard the crow a second ago, could have been because of the crow. I'm not quite sure, but that was really loud. That was a warning call that something was in the area that they didn't like. But yeah, never heard that before. That was the first time I ever heard that. That was kind of cool. I hope I can bring up the volume for you to hear that too. Okay. It's been 8 hours now. As you can see by the timer down here, there's only 4 hours left. So we've been 8 hours at this, so let's hit pause and see what they look like. These are the cinnamon sugar ones. Now, as you can tell, they're still a little on the rubbery side. There's a squish squish. Little rubbery side. Some are more done than others, but almost done though. So let's go down to the bottom tray and see what the plain ones look like. So the same thing with the plain ones. They're still a little on the rubbery side. So I think it's going to take the rest of the 4 hours that are left on the timer to finish these out. Yeah, still a little rubbery, but they're getting really close. Really super close. So let's put the trays back on and restart it. Now you'll want to do the same thing if you're doing it in the oven. I think the lowest setting an oven goes at is 150. So you want to stop every once in a while and check them so they don't overly dry out. You can dry them out completely till they're crispy, or you can leave them a little rubbery. It's all your preference. But I like to dry it out a little more than what you saw there. Of course, the same thing with the oven. Check it, do it to your liking. But I think these are going to take the remaining 4 hours on the timer. So I'll start the timer and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Okay, the 12 hours are up now. As you can see, by the timer is at 0. So let's open it up and take a look. Move you in a little closer without knocking the camera over. Okay, let's start with the cinnamon ones. I'm just going to dump them all in this bowl, and then we'll see how they look. So there is the cinnamon ones. They're looking really good. They're nice and crispy, as you can hear. Hopefully. Nice and crispy. See, they break instead of just bend. Yeah, some of them are going to bend because they were thicker, but those are perfect right there. So now let's check out the plain ones. I'm just going to dump those all in the same bowl. And there is the plain ones. Nice and crispy too. Yes, some are going to be rubbery, but they all seem to break instead of bend. Now, if you want them crispier, just leave them in a little longer. If you would rather have them on the chewy side, see that one's a little on the chewy side, then just don't leave them in as long. So, set the camera back up. Just give these a good toss. So how about trying a cinnamon one? Here you go. So what'd you think? That was the cinnamon one. Now how about trying a plain apple one? Without the cinnamon on it. Here you go. Don't bite my fingers. So what'd you think? That was the plain one. I like them both. I think they're both rather tasty. Now these are good for kids or adults. They're a really healthy snack. Low fat, low calorie, all that happy stuff. Now these are good to go on a hike. You just have to stick them in a Ziploc or a container and you can take them with you anywhere. Now if you're going to make them on the softer side, the more chewier side, I would recommend putting them in the fridge because they might start to get moldy and whatnot. But if you make them on the drier side, more like a potato chip, they'll last a lot longer in just a container. Now I'm going to take these on my vacation tomorrow. And we'll have them up there in the mountains as an easy snack when we're out wandering around. So I hope you like these. I hope you give it a try. Now if you don't have a dehydrator, again you can just do it in the oven. I explained that in the earlier part of the video. So I hope you liked part 2 of Just What I Do with a big box of apples. Thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it if you stuck around this long. And thank you to all those who have subscribed and are sticking around. It's not as easy as you think to start out and get subscribers. So I greatly appreciate anybody who subscribes and sticks around. and watches my videos from beginning to end. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you get notified every time I post. I post twice a week. I post on Tuesdays and Fridays. Now the content ranges from animals to gardening, mountain, cooking, pretty much anything in between. Now if you have any questions about anything, please leave a comment down below. I check them every single day, and I'll try my best to get back to you. So thanks for watching Just What I Do today. Hope you liked this video, and have a great day.